What's going on, everyone? This is Bars and I'm back for another video. Manchester United review of the game from the Premier League on the weekend. Now, before I get stuck in the video, let me know if that preview intro bit was better than the normal one that's gone on. It's Bars. Let me know which one's better. I believe that this new one is better, but at the end of the day, it's what you guys want to see. So let's get stuck straight into the review. Manchester United have won at Old Trafford 3-2 against Newcastle United. Certainly wasn't the game that I expected to be played out, and I don't think anyone else expected it. Obviously going 2-0 down within the first 20 minutes is not ideal, and conceding 2 goals within 2 minutes is not ideal, but unfortunately that's what happened. And yeah, it was a shocking showing in the first half. It was not good at all, conceding 2 goals to Kennedy and Muto within 2 minutes of each other. Certainly was shocking for me as a viewer watching that, and it would have been shocking to everyone on the ground, everyone around the world. Certainly no one was expecting that to happen. So unfortunately that's what happened in the first half. Second half though was certainly a lot more upbeat. Obviously scoring a free kick with Mata, which was good. Then not too long after, Martial with the 1-2 with Pogba, scoring that second goal for us to get level. And then the final goal from Alexis Sanchez in the 90th minute in added time to put Manchester United 3-2 ahead, and and then obviously win the game. So it was good to see them win the game. Obviously never want to see Manchester United lose a game. They're my team. I love them. I don't want to see them ever lose. And yeah, again, that speculation in the first half about Mourinho being sacked was certainly on the cards. I think it became less on the cards, but I still think that second half certainly papered over a few cracks. And on that note, about me saying that, I was lucky enough to be on Fanzone on the weekend, which is the show that is on straight after the Premier League games every weekend. Jonathan Joseph, Don Hutchison and Leroy Rossignol do a show where people can call up and ring in and do whatever, and I was lucky enough to be the first person on the show to talk about Manchester United's game. So I've got the footage from them, which is fantastic. Thank you very much to EPL Fanzone for that one. Bit of a shout out there for you guys. And yes, and I'm going to include that in this video. So we're going to cut straight to the Fanzone and I'll show you guys the footage.
So there was me thinking Jose would be nice and upbeat after that comeback win against Newcastle. Hopefully Bailey in Australia is a great result for Manchester United on the face of it, but they made hard work of it.
Yes, they did. I thought at about 3:30 a.m. here, I thought it was going to be a different story to what it was right now. At 3:30, I was pretty angry and upset that they weren't putting in a performance that I've seen Manchester United put in a performance over the last 6 to 10 years. But they turned it around. I didn't expect it to happen, but yeah, that's what happened. So it's a bit of a roller coaster 90 minutes.
Guys, look, we know we're in the results business. We look and we talk about it being the results business, but performances are equally as important, especially for a side like Manchester United.
Well, what's Pep's mantra? He always says the result is a consequence of the performance. If you play well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the right result. Now, we've seen over the years, sometimes you can play well, you can draw a game, you can even lose the game. If you do it over a consistent period, you're going to win more games. I love the attitude of the players that I saw in the second half from Man United. I thought was first class. I don't know if it's papering over the cracks. We'll have to wait and see, because it was a strange old game. It could have finished anything. Newcastle were very unlucky. They had a couple of headers, Muto and Diarmi, that should have scored. They should have had a penalty. They probably should have scored 5. But United had chances along the way. So would better teams have put United away, winning 2-0 and going on winning by 3 or 4? Probably yes. I think Newcastle suffered from a lack of confidence. And as soon as I knew Newcastle were winning 2-0, I thought, anything can happen here. United get 1, United will win the game. It's that type of feeling I had, because Newcastle panicked, as you would when you're low on confidence sitting in the bottom 3. And probably in the end, United just scraped over the line, but I don't think they deserved all 3.
Bailey, when I look at that Manchester United squad, not even just the starting 11. And I've heard lots of chat from Jose Mourinho and other United fans that he didn't get the money to spend and he should be supported and we need more players. And I look through that team and I say to myself, I could think of 3, 4, maybe 5 managers in the Premier League that if he had that exact same playing staff, he'd be getting better performances. Is that fair?
Yeah, I do think it's fair. I think that Pep, Jurgen, Michi Pochettino, the Wolves manager as well, I think could even do quite a good job for Manchester United. Yes, that's the one. So yeah, it's just I think that playing Sanchez on the left, I think he plays better on the right and having Martial on the left. I think that Martial is a world-class winger, probably one of the best wingers in the Premier League, I think, when he's up and running. I think Sanchez is a great player. He hasn't hit the form that he did with Arsenal a few years ago, but I think he can quite easily do that. And I think that Rushford has to play a bit more as well, maybe possibly up front for Lukaku, give him a bit of a rest because he's sort of, I can see last few weeks he's been very tired with a lot of his play. He's been struggling with that. So I just think that even though this result was great, as you guys said, I think it's papering over a few cracks, I think.
Right, I just want to get a few supporters in on the act. Cyril from Singapore says, good evening, Don and Leroy. Doesn't mention Jonathan. It says, what a fight back. I hope Jose stays, and those reports that he will get the sack are untrue. Sanchez needs a roaming role to flourish. A great comeback, but sad to say the United board need to give in to Jose's request for a centre-back. And Chuck says, why don't United play like that most of the time? I mean, the players are good enough to play like that. And, well, they're never, unless they go 2-0 down every time, he's not going to have all those players on the pitch at the same time, Jose. You know, you've got Sanchez on there, Martial, Lukaku, Pogba pushing forward, Rushford who came off. But
Mata came on.
Mata was on, who I think... And what I will say to you is Fellaini was on there as well. And when he came on, I give Fellaini... I've given him a lot of stick. But in terms of taking responsibility, Fellaini's up there. Not in terms of ability, but you saw in the first half, there were players hiding, didn't want to get on the ball. But when Fellaini came on, Pogba was getting on the ball. His first port of call was, let's get it into Fellaini. Yeah. Fellaini was getting it down, Mata was getting on the ball. And that's just as brave as tackling for me. And you saw all of a sudden, when he got nothing to lose, Martial wants to play, Sanchez wants to play. But they need to do that from the start of the game. Like Chuck says, they need to have that bravery from the start of the game, and that comes from the manager.
But Don, isn't this part of the problem that in 2018, we're talking about Manchester United with Jose Mourinho as the manager, and their go-to plan B is always Marian Fellaini?
I think he gets an unfair deal, Fellaini. I think I do because I think everyone just looks at this big mop of hair. They look at this guy who's 6'5". He looks, not as in his looks, but the way he plays the game, he's ungainly. But as Leroy said, he's brave enough to roll his sleeves up, and he's a talented player.
This is what I'm saying is it's not a slight against Fellaini. It's a slight against Jose Mourinho's tactics. That his idea of winning the game won't be to use the brilliant individual players or get the brilliant individual players. Martial, Lukaku, Pogba, Jesse Lingard, all of those players.
It might be a case. It might be a case of Jose finding out the characters of these players and eventually working out that one or two are not suited to a club the size of Man United.
Exactly.
And he might have to take 18 months at looking at a couple of players, working out what their character's like in training, talking to them before training, after training, during games, after games, and find out and thinking, well, actually, the club's too big for him. I've seen 1,000,001 players go to Man United wearing number 9s, number 7s, whatever numbers, and the club's too big for him. And Fellaini, at the moment, that's why he signed a new deal, is a great player for Man United.
He's
Man United to have, he's a great player.
Let me just say, let me compare him to Liverpool, because we have this discussion about Jordan Henderson. People say, oh, no, I don't like Jordan Henderson. This is exactly the same. Fellaini, when he gets in that Man United shirt, you know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get 7 out of 10. But some of those United players, you have not got a clue what you're going to get out of them at the moment. And it's because of the environment. By the way, one matters like that as well.
Yeah.
I know he's like, but he runs about, he gets on the ball, and prepared to make mistakes.
I think we're living in an idealistic world where everyone goes, well, why have we got Fellaini? Because he's 6'5" and he's the go-to man, where Mahrez or Sterling or Aguero and Zane, they're all easy on the eye. And you look at Messi and Ronaldo and Busquets and Iniesta and Xavi. And rightly so, it's worth a debate, and it's worth talking about what type of players fit whatever system and club.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be in a boat, and I've been in the boat where I've left a little bit on Fellaini and thought, well, why is he playing for a club like Man United? Because he shouldn't be. Because the players that I've mentioned, the top players in the world playing for one of the biggest clubs, should. But when they're going through a bad period of time, I think, in my opinion, he's probably the first name on the team sheet.
Yeah, because actually, pound for pound, he does what he's meant to do. I mean, Bailey, Manchester United now have quite a tough run of fixtures. Got to face Juventus twice in the Champions League. They've got Chelsea and Manchester City. And I think the game away against Bournemouth might be a potential banana skin as well.
Yeah, Bournemouth have started very, very well. I didn't expect them to win 4-0 against Watford today. Obviously, the red card helped Cavaselli getting sent off. But, yeah, I think every game in the Premier League is tough no matter who you play. I think even if you were to go to Huddersfield away, I still think you've got to be able to try and break them down. And the way United have played so far this year, I haven't had any confidence with them breaking down teams. Whereas, like you guys mentioned before, Newcastle only put the 2 chances away, and I thought we were absolutely shocking in the first half.
They weren't that good.
If it was Man City or Liverpool, I would have expected 5 or 6 to go in. So, yeah, it wasn't a good half, but the second half was a bit better, and hopefully we can get a few wins on the board in the next few matches.
Do you know if there's ever a camera on me whenever you say banana skin, because you like a banana skin?
He does, yeah.
Right, you do like a banana
He does
skin.
like banana
right, I said it on kick-off this morning. You said it this evening.
So I've said it twice today.
No.
Wow.
If there is a camera ever on me, you'd have a cheeky little smile on my face, because it reminds me of when I played with Joe Cole. And we played, I think I've told you the story before, we played in a FA Cup game. Right? And me and Joe were getting interviewed, and the guy asked him, is it a potential tricky game? And Joe went, yeah, it's got all the makings of an apple skin, this one. So whenever you say banana skin, it just makes me laugh.
Taking that, Joe Cole, fantastic player. As long as I keep saying banana skin, I don't mind saying it twice.
And I'll have a little.
You'll have a little chuckle up. Bailey, thanks very much for joining us on the show today. Before we continue...
All right, I'm back. I hope you guys enjoyed that footage. I certainly enjoyed being on Fanzone. Again, thank you very much for letting me come on. It was just great to talk about, like, be on a show and actually talk and say my opinion. And as I said, I think that win papered over a few cracks. I think that even though we did win 3-2 eventually, and we got the 3 points, I don't think that Mourinho is the right fit for Manchester United. It's nothing against him. I think he's a great manager. I really do. I really rate him as a manager. I just don't think he suits Manchester United. Mourinho, as I said, will go down as one of the greatest managers ever. But Manchester United have always been a free-flowing, attacking football team. They've never been boring, slow, sort of passive, only getting a couple of goals and resting on that. They've always been get 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 and 6 possibly. They've always tried to get as many goals as possible and win by comfortable margins. Too many times as under Mourinho and even Van Gaal and Moyes, we have just, or especially under Mourinho, we scored 1 and 2, and we just rested on a 1 or 2 goal lead, and it's not fun as a viewer to watch. Like, you might see the 1 or 2 goals going in and be like, yay, like you scored, but unfortunately the enjoyment stops there, because Mourinho too often just rests on the 1 or 2-0 lead, and sometimes a team can peg that back and even come 2-1 or 2-2, and it's very nerve-wracking as a supporter. And I think that people, especially at the ground and around the world, would feel exactly the same way. We need to be able to score a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, keep going and keep scoring many goals, like Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea. Like, all 3 of those teams are doing it. And as much as I hate to say it, at the moment, a lot of their games, I'd rather watch those 3 teams play, because they score many, many goals and they're very enjoyable to watch. They're free-flowing, attacking football. They keep going, and they don't just rest on leads. They just keep going for more. And I just wish that United would do the same. But I don't think, unfortunately, that's going to happen under Mourinho. That's why I think he, unfortunately, has to go. If that is after Chelsea game, Juventus game, in a month, Christmas time, end of the season, that's fine. But I think he has to go like at the most. I think by the end of the season. As I said, I like him, but I just don't think he's a very good fit for Manchester United. And I don't want Man United rushing in to sign someone like just a random, like not just a random guy, but just anyone. Like take Zidane for example, because he's the one that's been linked the most. I'd love for him to sign, but I don't want him signing before we haven't fixed everything that's going on, because it's not just Mourinho's fault. It's from top to bottom, from the Glazers own the club, to Ed Woodward, CEO, to Mourinho, and then the players. There's players that shouldn't be at Man United, that I feel that should be cut from the squad, and some that should have been cut a long time ago. And I think that we need to get a director of football. We need to sort everything out. And even if we were to sack Mourinho in a month, if that means just letting Michael Carrick and the other coaches take over for the rest of the season, that's fine. Like that's they'll do good enough for the rest of the season, I think, for us to still finish in the top 6. I would hope top 4 is still on the table. I think it still is. We're only 5 points off of. We're only 2 points off of 4th place, I believe. If I go to Manchester United, I'm pretty sure that we are only a couple of points off of 4th spot. If I go standings here, full table, and so we are currently. Sorry, my bad. I was right the first time. We are 5 points off of Arsenal and Tottenham, who are in 4th and 5th respectively. So again, we're not too far off. A couple of games. I still think Man United can peg that back, but we need to be playing like we did in that second half for that to happen. In terms of the match stats here, I do think that they do mean a little bit, but I just don't think that they mean everything, because the first half was really bad for Manchester United. 73% possession to 27%, so again a lot more possession as Manchester United generally have. 15 shots with 10 on target for Manchester United, and 13 shots with 8 on target for Newcastle. So again, conceding 8 shots to a team that hasn't won a Premier League game all season, it's not good enough. Not good enough for Manchester United. We should be certainly not allowing them to have very many chances at all. And it just, it was a very disappointing showing in the first half. But in the second half, it was certainly turned around. And I'm glad, because it was 3 more points, 3 valuable points. Because if we'd lost that game, we would have been 8 points off of top 4. And that's certainly very hard to be able to claw back, because it's like you probably think 8 points is less than 3 games, but that means the teams above you need to then lose for you to, and you need to keep winning for you to get up. So 8 points in this at the start of the season is a very big gap between the top 4 and Manchester United. But luckily it's not. It's only 5 points. It's 2 games, so not as bad. And we will come up against Arsenal, Tottenham again once, but Arsenal twice still. Wolves, the likes of those teams that are above us, we'll come up against them again and hopefully get 3 points against them, both times or the once, however many times we play them. So, but there's still plenty of time to make this season successful. We still have the FA Cup to play for. There's still the Champions League to play for. But we need to have to beat Juventus in one of those legs. But that's for another video. But in terms of performances, I thought that De Gea was outstanding. I thought if he wasn't in the first half, played the way he did in the first half, we certainly would have been probably 3 or 4 goals down, and that would have been near impossible to come back from. A bit tired. Luke Shaw, I thought, played quite well. I think he's been our player of the season. If there was a player of the season award now, he'd be getting it for sure. I like that pun. Pardon the pun. He would get the Premier League player. Manchester United player for sure. I thought Eric Bailly was I thought he was disappointing, but I still thought it was harsh to take him off because I still think I want him and Lindelof playing. I know that they didn't play very well against Brighton, but I just think they're our better two centre backs. Chris Smalling, unfortunately, I just think he needs to move. We need to move him on now. I think Manchester United too long, and I don't rate him as much as those guys. But Smalling did play okay, but in the first half, none of the defence was good. So take from that what you will. Ashley Young, again, I still didn't agree with him playing. I still thought, where's Diogo Dalot? I still thought he should have been playing. I do agree Valencia should be, Young should be starting ahead of Valencia. I don't know what's happened to Valencia. It's like he's fallen off a cliff or something. Just ever since he got injured last season, he's just gone missing. He just doesn't know how to attack, doesn't know how to defend, doesn't know how to do anything. He just stands out there and passes back and whatever. It's I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know. Midfield, Pogba, I thought was instrumental in that second half. Played a very deeper role in the second half, and also he was instrumental in us winning. He obviously created the second goal, pulling the strings in that midfield, which is what he should be doing every week. In what he did the second half, he should be doing that every week on a consistent basis. But the second half was very, very good from Paul Pogba. Juan Mata coming on as a sub, played well. I thought he's one of those players that I necessarily don't want him starting because I still do believe people like Fred and even Herrera and that are better. But I think Mata's still that sort of guy that's good, can come on, he can make a difference, he can string up, he can put a pass through to someone. So I think he's still valuable at least till the end of the season anyway. If that McTominay again, I thought was a bit disappointing. I think he did get a bit of a rough end. He got once Baye went off, Matt had come on for him, which means obviously to go centre half, which again I don't think McTominay suited to, but he still was disappointing. Gave the ball away too many times in the first half. Fellaini came on, made a difference. He's been, to his credit, he's been very, very good the last few weeks playing. Most this season, actually, when he's played. He certainly is a good player to have in the squad, and he does certainly make a difference. And he played his part today and contributed to us getting the 3 points. In terms of the front line, I thought, again, Lukaku was disappointing. I don't know what's happened to him. He scored 11 goals in 12 games in all competitions for club and country, and he looked good in the World Cup. He looked fierce, he looked strong, he bullying defenders off the ball. He's just not at the moment. I just think he's very, very tired. I just think he needs a rest. I think we should be playing someone like maybe Rushford, Sanchez, Martial, someone up front that has got a bit of energy. And give Lukaku a rest. I think Lukaku's still in our best 11 and certainly our best striker that we've got. But I just think he needs a rest. He needs someone there to be able to play a backup striker role that can allow Lukaku to rest, because he can't play 90 minutes every game, every week, in every competition and expect to be playing at peak performance every game. It's just not going to happen. I'll talk about Martial last. Sanchez I thought he was good. I thought he was quite lively when he came on. Certainly one of the better parts of the game that I've seen him play. He only came on, I think, for the last half hour or last 20 minutes, but again, made a difference, scored the goal. I think that'll do his confidence a world of good, and hopefully he can continue to build his confidence and his performance levels from here on into the rest of the season. Rashford, I wanted to see him I wanted to see him stay on. I wanted to see Lukaku come off for Sanchez, because I just thought, again, Lukaku was tired, not doing too much. I thought Rashford was still quite lively down the right, sending in a few crosses in. Could have scored 2 goals. There was 2 chances he missed, 2 headers from crosses, one from Lukaku, and I believe that the other one was from Young, I believe. And he could have scored twice, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen for him today. And finally, last but not least, Anthony Martial, who for me was my man of the match. I thought that he was fantastic and played like the Martial that I want to be seeing every week, and the Martial that I love watching. Taking on defenders, running at defenders, putting crosses in for his other teammates to score. Just that real agility and quick pace to get past a defender. and get a shot away. And obviously he scored the goal, and he won the foul to for Batter to score the free kick. So I thought he was the man of the match today. And yeah, overall, in the second half, fantastic. First half, not good. So yeah, so that was a bit of very, very roller coaster 90 minutes. So thank you guys for watching this Premier League Manchester United review. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you again very much to Fanzone for the footage. Hope you guys enjoyed that little bit as well. Hopefully I can bring you that another lot of footage like that in the future, in future videos. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't, click the subscribe. Comment, as I said, comment if you guys like that new intro, or if you like the old one. Let me know. I want to do what you guys like, so just let me know what you guys think is better. And this now will be constant thing that I'll do for each Premier League game, guaranteed. But Champions League, FA Cup games is a wait and see, depending on if I watch them, depending on like time and stuff. Because some of the Champions League games, and FA Cup games generally are at early morning, like really early morning. And people that know me, I'm not an early morning person actually in general. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, I hope you, as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you later on in the week. All right, have a good week, guys. I'm out.